Hello. It's Ray Reese here, Reese's Masterpieces, out here in Franklin Mills or Philadelphia Mills, out by the abandoned, desolate, and out of business Toys R Us, even though I think they've been bought out. I don't know, whatever. Getting my car taken care of at the NTB. But while I'm out here, I figured I'd shoot an answer video for my friend Palvash. She had a question about glutes. How do you grow say larger glutes without getting larger thighs, larger legs? The short answer is that you can't, but we want to talk about why. The glutes, so whenever somebody thinks of glutes or the butt, so we're clear, when people think of having a butt, having an ass or whatever, what they're thinking about, all right, hold on here. All right, what they're thinking about is how much the glute muscle comes away from your hamstrings, the back of your legs, all right? So you've got your glutes up here, and you've got your hamstrings down there. And so when you're thinking of that sort of booty, you're thinking of a butt that comes off and away from the hamstrings. The thing about it is that your glutes don't work separate from your legs. You can work your legs separate from your glutes, but not the other way around, because the glutes are essentially, they're a stabilizer muscle. They're part of your core. They essentially help keep your hips forward, all right? Keep your hips from going back. They stabilize you. While they're a powerful muscle, it's not necessary for them to be particularly large, because they just stabilize, they just assist. And what do? They help with hip flexion. So this is hip, they help with hip extension. This is hip flexion, this is hip extension. So my hips are here in the middle of the hip joint. I'm flexing at the hips, extending at the hips. Now, the thing about this, and also they help with hip abduction. So we have adduction and abduction. All right. The thing about it is that with, say, hip abduction, your quads also assist. You have other muscles over here, with like your IT band and everything that work in order to perform that movement. When you're doing hip extension, your hamstrings are also working, because that's one of the main jobs that they do. So like this, if I'm hinging at the hips, I'm flexing at the hips and then extending. So your standard sort of good morning exercise involves your hamstrings doing the work with your glutes, stabilizing and or assisting. If you're doing a deadlift, you're picking something off the floor, same concept, right? So if you're saying, hey, I want to get bigger glutes, you're invariably going to wind up with bigger legs as well. Because, so I mentioned earlier, we talked about how when you think of a butt, you're thinking of how it comes off of the legs. Basically, whatever ratio you are genetically predisposed to having, that's what it's going to be for life. It may vary a little bit, especially as you get older, but let's say hypothetically speaking, let's say your glutes, for whatever reason, were 30 inches around, all right? 30 inches around, and your legs were 20 inches around. So that's a ratio of 3-2, right? That means that if you squatted the shit out of some weights for years and decades, and let's say you were able to get your legs, get your glutes somehow to being 60 inches, well, you would then still have, 40 inches worth of thighs and legs. And yeah, so basically, if you have no butt, if you have, or, glutes that have a minimal ratio to your legs, like let's say you have, glutes that are 36 inches and legs that are 35, if you get your glutes up to 72 inches, you're going to have legs that are 70 inches. So it's always going to be the same ratio. And if that weren't true, you would see tons of, say, before and after photos where people all of a sudden had larger butts. If it were true that you could work your glutes and get them bigger, bodybuilders would have the largest butts. I mean, they have the most muscular butts, they're the most defined, they have the strongest, but their ratio of glutes to hips, or to legs stays the same, but like I said, people want to sell like all kinds of booty programs. Well, you can look online, you can see somebody that started off with, like, say, no arms and grew to having bigger arms. You can see, small legs grown to bigger legs, no back grown to like having, this sort of big lat back, but you've never seen anybody go from having no ass to mo ass. It doesn't happen unless they've got like injections, which is fine. It's just your genetics. Love what you have, live what you have, take care of it, and you can get a better butt, you can get a higher butt, you can get a more pronounced butt, but you have to understand your legs are going to come with it. And that's not a bad thing, but I do understand people's distress regarding such. But nonetheless, that's just the science of the matter with regards to like our physiology. The butts are a stabilizer muscle. They assist. They don't work independent of the legs, unless you're like, I don't know, twerking or something. No, forget I said that. That was a joke. But yeah, no, they don't work independent. And like I said, that's fine. So regardless of your shape, regardless of your type, regardless of your ratio, regardless of your genetics, just make sure that you love yourself and you take care of yourself regardless, okay? That's all for now. Ray Reese, Reese's Masterpieces. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, all right? Bye-bye.